she's certainly best known as being Lois Lane. Margot Kidder's done a whole lot in the acting business. And she's in Vagina Monologues now in Toronto until June 16th. And she's sitting here across from me. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Now, you say you just got sent the DVD was released of Superman as an anniversary
No,
edition
they've
or
just
something?
released the DVD.
With your screen test on
they've
it.
got all this stuff. They have all the special effects. They have my screen test. They have Stockard Channing screen test. They have Christopher's screen test. It's really fun. It's
So
really
Stockard Channing was up for Lois Lane. Who else?
Just about everybody. Just about everyone. It's fun to watch. It's a great DVD. But let's talk about the Vagina Monologues. That's why I'm here.
I know.
Oh, okay. Listen.
Well, you know, you've got a history. You've got
I
a
have
history.
that, honey.
Yes, you have a
Yeah.
history, honey. So that, you know, those things aren't so bad either.
Yeah.
Now, did this just come out of the blue, Vagina Monologues?
Actually, what happened was I was sent it some time ago, and I read it, and I went, I don't know about this, and turned it down. And then,
What didn't you know?
Well, it seemed like, well, why is everyone talking about vaginas? When you read it, it's very different. And then I did a piece for our local battered women's fundraiser in Livingston, Montana.
Which is where you live.
Which is where I live. And the audience response in Livingston, Montana was so enthusiastic and terrific. I went, oh my gosh, these really play. They really play.
Because that was one thing, you know, that the critics of the Vagina Monologues have said, you know, what's the big deal?
Well,
you know,
it is a big deal for a lot of women. Last night I watched a woman in the front row who came in who was clearly not comfortable with any of this. And for the first
with the language, with the words.
Language, the first couple of monologues was a bit like this. And by the end was laughing and hooting, and also there's some very moving, very, very emotionally moving pieces in it. And was really, went through this transformation before my eyes. And then at the end, I walked out and there were some fans there, and one girl was clearly overwhelmed and said, do you find this a life-changing experience? Well, at my age, if I had any more life-changing, honey, I'd turn into an explosive. So it's not that for me, but it's really fabulous to watch the audience. It's such a joyful experience.
But would your daughter, for example, I mean, I don't know if she's seen it, but they talk about a younger generation sort of going, ho-hum, you think it's a big deal to say those words?
For my daughter, who is the younger generation, and
how old is she now?
She's 25, about to have my second grandchild, so I'm very excited. She can't. I used to taunt her because I'd go penis, vagina, because she couldn't say penis, vagina. She could say everything else, but she couldn't say penis or vagina. So,
I would think that would be the last thing you would do that would embarrass her. She must have loved the Playboy spread.
Oh yeah. Well, she was not born when that was a long time ago. This was before her conception. So yeah, people need to relearn all this stuff. People our age go, oh, we did that in the late 60s and early 70s, but there's 2 other generations behind us. We forget we're getting old, dear me.
Oh, surely not.
And they really do need to go through this again. The audience is so much a participant in the piece that it's so much fun to do, and there's so much joy in it, absolutely pure, unadulterated joy, that it's really, really fun.
Now, I saw you, we were broadcasting from Trudeau's funeral, so we were in a booth. I saw you there. Were you blown away by the reaction and just by the event itself, or was it just for you a deeply personal thing?
It was very personal, and it's very hard to have a dear friend die, and suddenly you're at this show. Do you know what I mean? It was a state funeral. It was a beautiful funeral, but I was trying so hard to hold all this emotion inside that I was just frozen. It was very moving, and one doesn't wail at state funerals, and I'm a wailer, so it was hard.
How are you keeping the emotions inside? I mean, you do a lot of work now dealing with mental health and mental health issues, you know, because manic depression, I mean, do you say yours is under control? Is that what you say?
I say mine's cured. I've been 5 years without an episode of any kind.
And no medication or anything?
No medication. So
how do you do that?
Well, it's called orthomolecular medicine, and instead of the rather insane idea of actually treating a chemical imbalance by throwing another synthetic chemical on top of it to treat the symptoms, what I'm doing is treating the underlying cause of the symptoms. And mental illness, like any other illness, is simply a set of symptoms that tell you something's wrong with your system. So what you do, as opposed to simply dampening the system with downers, which I did for years, or uppers or antidepressants or whatever, is you correct what's causing the chemical imbalance that's making your brain have thought disorders or emotional disorders that, again, are simply symptoms of what's wrong.
So what'd you do?
There could be 10 manic depressants in a room, and they will have 10 different things wrong with them. You go and have blood tests and urine tests and poop tests and hormone tests, you name it.
So is it what you eat or vitamins?
You find out what you're deficient in and what's toxic. It could be mercury or something. And then you take away what's toxic in the system and put in what you're deficient in. And for me, it was removing some food allergies, having to inject B vitamins because I wasn't absorbing them. And of course, you need those for anything.
Do you have to jab yourself then?
I have to jab myself. I don't look. I do one of those.
Oh, you stick it in your bum?
I have to stick it in I can't look, and half the time the little needle end goes in and the spray goes all over the room. But it's a matter of each person finding out what their system's lacking or got too much of, and correcting it that way. And it makes a lot more sense. And you get better, as opposed to continuing to go to the shrink and adjusting your medication for the rest of your life.
So you live, it sounds, I mean, you live in Livingston, Montana. I mean, you've had like a great but crazy life.
I've had a great life with sort of bungee jumps into bits of insanity.
Marriages and
But I've had a wonderful, wonderful life, which is by no means a tragedy. And at the moment, I have exactly the life I want. I have an incredible 2-year-old grandchild named Maisie who lives 10 minutes away. And my daughter's expecting another child. And there's a wonderful piece at the end of Vagina Monologues, which I get to do, which is such a blessing, about a woman watching the birth of a child, and I got to watch my granddaughter being born. So I watched my baby have her baby, which was the most extraordinary experience a person can go through. So when I do that part at the end, it's really hard for me not to cry. I always just want to go, oh. But so yeah, my life is just about exactly the way I would wish it to be.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck with the monologues, which again, if people in Toronto can see them till the 16th of June. Nice to see you, Margot.
Good to see you too.